Hi, I'm Drew.
I'm Harley.
I'm Nancy,
And we're
the
the
Bound
Bound
in
in
Book
Book
podcast. You can expect a fun time, some curse words, and a lot of discussion. Our episodes will both feature guests and be conversations between the three of us.
We do intend to stay spoiler-free for the majority of our shows. Our guest episodes will feature a spoiler section towards the end. We're here to be an author, reader, and industry at large safe space to discuss books, opinions, and feelings. But we are going to keep it positive.
We want listeners to know that we are not here to bash your favorite stories or authors, but may discuss things we didn't like too. And we hope you join our discussion over on social media and enjoy the episode.
So welcome to the start of Leo season.
Is it officially
The
official?
21st was the first
Oh
day.
God. Maybe I'll power up a little bit more. I need it after this freaking work week.
And it's only Wednesday. The distress noise.
So I'm on this project and I fucking hate it. Like, the project is whatever. It sucks for its own reasons, but then my team also just it's I don't want to say it sucks because it feels rude, but it kind of does suck. And like, there's no organization, and I thrive off of organization. And I'm like probably one of the lower men on the totem pole there. So it's like I'm not going to be the one to organize everything, that's for sure. Um and I really like the people I work with as human beings. Like, I think they're fun and I like them. I don't like working with them. And I've already planned out what I'm gonna tell my boss. I'm gonna tell them, like, I'm not gonna work on this project anymore. Like, I don't thrive in this environment. I won't do well. I will probably quit if I have to continue doing this. So, like, please don't ever make me do this again. And I'm just like, I still have a whole month left to complete this project, and they need me. So, like, I need to stay on it, at least for this portion. But yeah, I'm just keep thinking about, okay, I can't wait to be like, don't ever do this to me again. Like, I'm not gonna do this again.
Yeah, no kidding. That sucks, dude.
Rant over. Rant of the day done.
My assistant, she was gone yesterday. So that meant I had to do all the things I used to do for my job on the day-to-day and ignore a lot of the things that didn't need to be done. I just got done the things that needed to be done, which is a lot of the stuff that she takes care of for me. And I was like, oh, I actually really miss doing a lot of this stuff, but like I got a promotion, so I'm a manager now. Um, so a lot of those day-to-day tasks that I really enjoyed have been given away because I can't do those and do the other things that need to get done. So today, when she's back, I have to catch up on all the stuff that I missed yesterday, all the stuff that I needed to get done today. And then she's also trying to get caught up. But also she makes my work life a lot easier, but just like this week it's just been too much.
Yeah, it's like you're both trying to catch up, and then like you have to like manage her catching up while you're managing yourself catching up. Like, that's a lot.
And so,
What about you, Nancy? How's your work week going?
It's been going pretty chill. I know I mentioned in one of our channels a couple weeks ago, my workload is lightening up because I'm stepping away from like management roles and just selling. So it's been a lot less stressful because I have more flexibility now, so that's nice.
woohoo!
Oh yeah.
So I'm like trying to be a bit more part-time with that so I can actually focus on reading and writing more.
As you should be.
Which I'm still like, I guess, recovering from work related and other things related burnout. So I still haven't been doing a ton with that, but it's been nice to actually write for once. So I've been making progress.
Exciting.
Yeah.
What are you reading right now? Are you still making your way through your little stack? Your stack of
I
books.
knocked out one of them. I finished. I
Nice.
know I didn't come scream at y'all about it, but I did finish Vows and Ruins. I was driving when I finished it, and that's why I forgot to come scream at y'all about that. But I did finish that. But I'm still working through the others, so
Okay, wait,
taking my
pause.
time with that.
I'll say pause really quick. If you haven't finished Vows and Ruins, skip ahead like 30 seconds. What do you think of the end?
So I know I told you guys like where I got cut off by Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm.
that was really the screaming at the book part for me, and like the last 25 minutes were kind of just like, just wrapping it up. I'm intrigued to see what happens next, but I didn't see that twist coming until like maybe a chapter or two before. Like when he left, I was like, oh, that's when I was like, uh-oh. But I didn't see that coming.
I think I started wondering like maybe halfway through the book if that's how it was gonna go. And then I was like getting this just like sense of impending doom as we get closer and closer to the end of the book. And he's not saying anything about like somebody is very clearly off, like not right. And he's like not saying anything. I'm like, when's it gonna happen? When is the shit gonna hit the fan? And then it did, like at the worst possible time.
Yeah.
No, please tell me you're gonna read the novella next.
Yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing. That's why I haven't jumped into, because I'm pretty sure my audiobook hours renewed by now. But that's why I haven't started the next audiobook, is because I'm gonna read that first.
Okay, nice.
Is it not on audio?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me look. It is. That's amazing. Yeah, it is.
You should do it. You need to do it. It's gonna.
I will be doing that.
I'm not even gonna. I can't say anything. I'm just gonna spoil it all if I do. That's so exciting though. Oh my god, when I was listening to those last chapters, because I was like, oh my god, you said 25 minutes, and then I looked at my Spotify just to see where that was. I was like, what the fuck? That's 2 chapters. That's insane.
Yep.
So I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna listen to this and I'll record it for Nancy. And I was literally like, I was starting to tear up again, just remembering everything. Like, not even just remembering from Vows and Ruins, but remembering everything that happened afterwards. I was like, oh my god, it's so emotional.
Well, I appreciate you doing that for me.
Yeah, of course. Honestly, anytime I don't use my hours, so like if you ever need me to record something for you, I gladly will.
I will keep that in mind.
Drew, did you already say what you're reading? Did I miss it?
Oh, no, you did not miss it. I am reading. I have made it to the end of my Broken Kingdoms series. I'm on the last book, book 9, Song of Sorrows and Fate. And holy fucking shit. If you guys haven't read, well, if you've read the Everseas, Harley, I know you read the Everseas. Nancy, I don't remember if you've read the Everseas series by LG Andrews, but her first series, The Broken Kingdoms, is so fucking good. Like, insane, amazing world building, like putting things into book 1 that are now coming to fruition in book 9. Like, my mind is blown. I'm just like so fangirling so hard over her because this series, I was literally on chapter 1 this morning sobbing in the kitchen because things are happening and it's so good. So you guys you need to read it.
I feel like you really flew through those.
I read like a book a day because just that's how good it is. And they're fairly short for fantasy. They're like 300-ish pages or so.
Okay. They're on my list. I actually have Garrett sent me The Mist Thief. So that's the only physical one. I don't have physical copies of the first 2, but I have The Mist Thief. It's sitting here. It's ready for me to read.
You
I'm
read
so excited.
the Ever King though, right?
I've read the first 2.
Okay. Oh, cool, cool, cool. Okay, nice.
Oh my god, Drew, I caught myself saying "cool, cool, cool" so many times. I said it in a work call this morning. I will hear
Yes.
myself saying it, and I'm like, "Oh, yikes."
You're picking up on my little jargon. I love it.
Your isms.
Yes, exactly.
I'm,
What are you reading?
I have not picked up any books since I told you that I was starting Trick. That's what it's called, right? Trick?
Mhm.
I read the first 5 chapters, and then I had a bunch of designs that I, like, really wanted to get done. So, I've been spending all of my free time, like, putting the finishing touches on designs, and, like, with Stickergate, I had to change my vendors.
Gate.
So, yeah, I had to change my vendor, so I've gone with a new vendor for both my stickers and my pins, so, like, it's just been a lot the last, like, week and a half. You guys wanna know something embarrassing?
Always, yes.
My entire bottle of wine fit in the glass that I'm drinking out of right now.
Send us a pic.
Well, it's mostly gone. So I did like half when I was cooking dinner. And like I've got about half of it left, but I'll show you the picture. 1 second. Hold, please.
Oh my god, I wish I could drink alcohol. Maybe not the way I used to, but at least just in general. You guys already saw. I will share this on the podcast though. But I'm such a fucking lightweight. I couldn't even drink a margarita with 3 shots of tequila in it. I had maybe like a third of it, and then I was like, I'm gonna feel sick if I drink anymore, and I just tossed the rest of it.
Okay. I usually tap out around 2 margaritas. So, but my wine is a margarita wine. So, this is all that's left of the
Ooh.
entire regular size bottle. It's in our general if you want to look at it.
Huge glass.
Yeah, it's a big glass. Literally half of the bottle fit in this one glass.
That's insane. Like, it doesn't
So,
look that big in maybe I'm just not good at facial
it's
awareness
like
here.
misleadingly. It's really big around. It doesn't look
Okay,
like
okay.
it. I'm gonna give you like the Girth Master view. Hold, please.
Oh my god, shut up. Do you know what image I'm envisioning?
Is it him holding his hand around the wine bottle?
No, it's even worse. It's the one where the girl is, like, sucking him off, and it's just, like, horrifying looking. That scares me, like, that gives my TMJ nightmares.
Nancy, do you have any idea what we're talking about? Have we talked about it in here before?
I don't think so.
Okay,
Oh
so
god, Nancy, let's
okay, let me give you the brief overview, and let me give we can keep this in because it's very funny. Let me give the
It's on
people.
brand for today.
It is. We're gonna give the people a brief overview. If you don't want to hear, this is not the episode for you. I'm so sorry. We're talking about smut today, you guys.
In the name, I think if they're listening right now, they should
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
You're right, you're right.
So Girthmaster is a porn star who's a male porn star who's like renowned for his massive dick. Okay, and it is big. We looked up pictures of it in the cabana one night. We literally looked at pictures of it in the cabana one night. This motherfucker is wine bottle sized.
It's scary.
It's big. So now he's on, and his content on most of his social media platforms is like specifically geared at like directing people towards his OnlyFans, right? His TikTok account is, yes, but it's like the female gaze geared towards OnlyFans. Like he's very like wholesome, he's very, very funny. He does a lot of yapping about fucking nothing. But inevitably someone will bring up how fucking huge his hands look. And so he'll just like hold like a can of soda and you can't even see this can of soda in his hands.
Oh.
Yeah. I'll go find. Do you have TikTok, right, Nancy? Okay, I'll go screen record some of the funny ones that are like not really. He doesn't really post like particularly vulgar content on TikTok, so
No, he's kinda wholesome on TikTok. I mean, like, as wholesome as, like, an adult can be, like, not wholesome in the sense of, like, you want your family watching these videos, but you know
like
what I mean.
He seems like someone who would actually like to sit down, like have a beer with and like chit chat with. That
He's
version of
funny.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
He has an accent. It's kind of sexy. I
He
wish I knew where
scares
it was
me.
from.
His
Bro,
dick
he's like
scares
6'6".
me. That man would kill me.
I think I think I'd be fine personally.
I think, yeah, you know what? Based on some things that I know about you, I think that you could handle it.
I don't Drew, I wish you could see my face right now. I'm blushing.
Oh my god, I'm dying.
But look, you're also like 5'0".
Yeah, I'm small.
I'm
Like,
almost 5'10", so that
stature.
helps. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think no, but I swear to God, well, maybe all the girls just look small near him, now that I think about it, actually. But the first time I ever saw this man, so Jenny and I met up in person before I moved away from California because I was like, "Jenny, we need to meet up before I move." And so we were hanging out, and Jenny was the one that told me about Girthmaster, and she was like, "Well, I, like, saw the talk about it," but she's like, "Oh, you didn't see the pictures?" I was like, "No, what pictures?" She's like, "Go ask Jackie." And so I messaged Jackie, I was like, "Hi, Jenny and I are together. Send me the picture, the wine bottle picture." She said, "You'll know what I mean." And I got straight up nudes in public, and Jenny and I just opened them, and I was like, "Ah!" Like, literally screaming, dying, looking at this man's nudes.
It was good. I remember actually, you know what? I remember that. That was funny.
Yeah, because we were, like, yelling about it in the cabana afterwards.
Yes. Exactly.
So we don't normally send real man dicks in the cabana, Nancy, but that's something you can look forward to. We do send a lot of smut, like, usually just fan art smut.
We very specifically every like 2 months, someone will be like, "Where's the art of Rune with a Jacob's ladder?"
Oh my god, yes.
And Tay always has it.
It's always Tay.
It's always Tay.
It is always Tay.
Mostly Tay.
Mostly Tay. But yeah, no, that one is in there like that, and the Clambussy is in there a lot of times.
Clamosy. Oh my god. Wait. Have you read Crescent City, Nancy? I can't remember.
Not yet.
This
Okay.
isn't. I mean, this isn't a spoiler.
No. There's a character in Crescent City. His name is Therion, and he is a merman, mer shifter, and someone has made clam art of his dick while he's in mer form, and it is like a clam. I wish I could see your face right now, dude.
I think I have it. I kind of want to send it to you.
God.
I don't have my phone on me. You're really lucky. I don't know where my phone is. It's somewhere in my home. If I remember when I find it, Nancy, you're not safe. Your phone's not safe.
This is not a safe space.
This is not a safe space.
You know that all of our friends in our Discord are going to be like, "Let me see the Clambussy pic."
Oh my god, you're right. Okay, when they start asking, we'll just have to have it on deck.
It's
On deck,
okay.
on deck.
Tabs will probably have it.
You're right. No, you're right. Tabs is the one that actually showed everyone that picture in the beginning.
Bro, it's always Tabitha. Mm.
I know this isn't one of our questions, but since we are talking about smut today, how do you guys feel about like fan art, smutty scenes, like actual scenes that are from the book versus scenes that are just like fan made?
I think they're fun. I think that as long as they're not AI, art is art, and it's a fun time. I love seeing oh god, now I'm gonna sound like a fucking pervert. I'm like, I love seeing smutty art, but like it's it's fun.
I mean, I love it too. Yeah, it is fun. It's like you said, art is art. I literally have a photo up of Thea and Wilder making out naked in a forest on my bookshelf that I look at on the daily. So I love me some smutty art.
I was scrolling through my pictures from Nashville and showing Josiah, and all of my smutty fan art that I got from Sharissa Weeks was just like sitting right in my pictures because I sent it to you guys, and I sent it to Jackie specifically. Is actually who I wanted to send it to, and I didn't delete the pictures. And so Josiah's like scrolling through my pictures from Nashville or whatever, and he goes, "What the fuck is this? How about you don't worry about it?"
How about to look at my phone?
No, he wanted to see all my pictures, so I just handed it to him. He wasn't just like going through it. No, he was just like scrolling through the pictures, and he gets to the ones from the end of the night, and he was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I'm like, "That's nothing. It's what that
That's
is."
really funny. I thought like you were looking for the pictures to show him, and you were scrolling through it, and he was like, "What?" That's
I mean,
really funny.
that would also be very accurate, but I mean, he can go through my phone. I don't give a fuck, really, honestly. All right, we're gonna reel this back onto the tracks. So, okay, so since we're talking about smut today, we should probably start with like, what is smut and what do we think the difference is between sex scenes and smut? Because there, in my opinion, there is a difference. What about you guys?
I guess so. Yeah, I guess technically there is a difference. Like sex scenes, in my opinion, add to the plot, and then also, but sex scenes like they don't have to be super explicit. Where smut is like you can literally read a whole book, and it's just smut. There's no plot. It doesn't add anything to the plot. It's just banging.
Really thought about there being a difference, but it does make sense. Like, sex scenes can be implied or just not explicit, like Drew said. And so I'd never really thought about there being a difference, but yeah, there is.
I think for me, the difference, and we're gonna get into this more when we talk about like sex scenes specifically in YA, because I have a lot of opinions about that. But like the difference to me is the function of the sex scenes and what are we like doing with them. So like smut is like those are designed like when you read them, you're going like it's designed to like you to turn you as the reader on. Like you're gonna visualize like yourself in the scene, or you're gonna be like, oh yeah, that's like really, really hot. Whereas like just a sex scene, like you guys said, it could be like a closed door one, or the focus is more on like the emotional pieces of the scene and where it like is advancing the plot and less on the actual like physical sexy parts of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And one of the questions that we actually got from our listeners about this is Meredith wanted to know how we rate spice levels in books. And I'm really, really bad at that, but I think Drew probably has a comprehensive system. So do you want to start, Drew?
Oh my god, that's so sweet that you think that. Okay. I think I kind of do have a comprehensive system. I think though, as I read more books with more like different types of smut, my system skews a bit more. So I started reading a lot more dark romance this year and seeing a lot of smut scenes that are like BDSM, like heavy BDSM, not just like choking and like some like tie me up. Like it's like hardcore. Um I don't know how far I want to go into this. But anyway, I feel like once you get into more like kinky stuff, like anytime kinks are involved and like the more taboo the kink, the more chili peppers I'd rate it. So like 5 would be I don't know. I can't even think of an example, but just like a really taboo kink would be like a 5. And then like 4 I would think would be like oh, and then also it depends on how many scenes are in the book too for me. So like if it's like only one of those scenes with like a really taboo kink, I'd honestly drop it down to like a 3. But if it was like 3 plus scenes, then it'd be a 5. If it was like BDSM and like 2 to 3 scenes, I'd give it like a 4. Um
Okay, let me give you an example. Where do you rate like Den of Vipers?
oh my god, I haven't read that one.
Oh, okay.
I know what it's about, and I know like that one scene that you're talking like you're probably thinking of,
Well,
but I haven't read the whole thing.
Okay, so when you read it, I need you to know this is the very first reverse harem that I ever read.
Oh my god.
The very first dark romance that I ever read. I was just dumped right in.
Doesn't he like spoiler alert, I guess. Uh, doesn't he like fuck her with a knife? Or no, he puts a
Ye-
knife in her ass?
Oh, I don't remember. It was a long time. One of those, but it's the handle part, not the blade
It's the
part. But
handle, yeah.
yeah, I think it's in
And
her
then
ass.
like he's fucking her, and then doesn't the knife like stab him in the thigh?
I think so. It might have been
That's when I
yeah.
see that. I mean,
That
I
was
put that at like
like
a 4, and then depending on how many sex scenes there are, but from what I know about the book, I know it's pretty smutty, so that would probably be like a 5,
I also need you
maybe
to know that
4.5.
I read it coming off of Kingdom of Ash. Like
Oh my god.
I'd only read it was my first non-SJM book that I read once I got back into reading.
And it was your
So
first dark romance?
yeah.
Dude. Kinda heavy.
Yeah, it was. I was like, I don't know if this is for me. Like maybe now that I read a little bit more, maybe I should like go re-explore dark romance, but that was not for me. Did you read uh the Dark Peter Pan reverse harem?
Oh, Hooked? Is that what it's
No.
called?
That is
Oh,
one, but
no,
that's not
but
the one I'm
no,
thinking of.
I haven't read that. I've read, oh my god, the one I'm thinking of, it's a
It's
series,
The
The
Vicious
Sick
Boys or
Boys.
Lost. Oh, we're
Yeah.
thinking of two
No,
different books.
oh, we're talking about 2 different things.
Yeah. I can only remember what the third one's called, so sorry. It's called Their Vicious Darling is the third one.
I haven't read that one.
Well, you should. You'd actually probably like it because it is fantasy. There's like fae and stuff in it.
I probably have it on my TBR, honestly. But that's yeah, I mean, that's kind of my rating scale. If there's, like, a book like Divine Rivals, honestly, I'll give it 1 wait, Divine Rivals, is that where they bang bang? I
I
think they
haven't read
do.
it.
Oh, like, it's YA, so, like, there's a sex scene. It's not smut. So, the
Divine
fact that there's
Rivals
it
had
wasn't the
that.
second book?
Yeah, it was the first one.
Okay. So, yeah, like, that book, I would rate it, like, a 1 chili pepper because like, there's still a sex scene, but it's not explicit at all, and it's still, like, there, so I feel like it should be acknowledged that, like, there like, it's not closed door, it's not like, "So Lorcan did."
Let's do okay, let me ask about a book that we've all read. Where would you put Threaded for Chili Peppers?
A 3.
Yeah, I agreed.
Yeah, I'd probably put it as a 3 as well. When I read it though, I had different opinions. I think I put it at like a 4.5.
That makes sense. 'Cause it does yeah, I mean, it has, like, quite a few, and, like, it gets, like, a little kinky a couple times. It's, like, definitely not vanilla, so that makes sense.
I'm trying to think of what I read that was not Savage Lands. Did you read those?
No, I had this on my Kindle for the longest time, and I never read it.
Okay, the first 5 books, I would say like pretty solidly between like a 3 and a 4, and then the last book, I bump it all the way up to 5. The last book's
Okay.
hot. You'd like it.
I think okay, so I know you're in the beginning of Trick. I would
Yes.
say Trick is, like, 3.5. It's, like, right in between a 3 and a 4 in my opinion.
Oh my god,
The
I was
second yeah?
pause really quick. I gotta tell you, so I'm like 5 chapters in, right? I'm at the very beginning. Like we have just had like our main male character and our female main character just interacted. They just had like their
The
very, very
dinner?
first yes.
Oh my god.
So I got through the dinner. I got through the scene following the dinner where he runs into her like in the mirror room or whatever the hell it's called.
Yes.
And I ended after the mirror room scene ended. And I was like reading it and I was like, Okay, I'm really into the story. I was like the energy he has.
Yes.
It's like very like sexual, but like gritty feeling. Like I don't know how to describe.
Yes. No, you're right. It's like he's like that's a great way to describe it, is sexual but gritty. Like he's kind of like he gives off morally gray. Like you don't know too much about his character yet to make that assumption, but like that's like the general vibe.
He's
And
like
he's
the guy that
very
I would want to meet in the bar and go home with when I was 19.
yeah, okay, yes. And like that's like that is literally his character too, because like that's what his role is in the court. It's to
Yeah.
provide that like sexual gratification to people. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. It's so and it's so good. I feel like Natalia Jaster does such a great job of integrating smut and plot because her books are smutty, like straight up, like so dirty, smutty. But if you really take a look at the sex scenes she puts in context with like the larger plot, it all makes sense and it all adds on to the character development. And that's one of the first series where I was like, "Holy shit, you can have smut that adds to the plot, like, in such a way that's insane."
I'm excited to maybe today, maybe that'll renew my desire to pick the book back up. Not that I'm not desiring to, but it'll light the fire back under my ass to pick the book back up.
To stop stressing out and read a book.
Yeah.
Super fair.
I feel like you really covered rating the spice levels in books because, like, my rating system today, as of right now, would be pretty on par with yours. I think I might be shifted slightly, like, down where, like, you might rate something a 4, I might rate it a 5, but it's pretty in line, I think, with what you said.
Yeah. I'm so excited to have Tabs on with us so that we can see what her scale is like because I feel like she knows a lot more about different types of, like, taboo, smutty books,
I'm
than we do.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited because it's gonna be the first time in my life where I actually have to shut the fuck up and listen to somebody else. No, I love her. I'm really excited to hear what she has to say too.
In September. That's what you all have to look forward to,
That's right.
a cute little Tabs episode.
I don't know if it'll be cute, if I'm being honest.
I think she's cute, so it'll make it cute.
She is cute.
Okay, let's see. Meredith also asked, "Do you think that people's idea of smut can be subjective, just like reading as a whole?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Like I think that one person's 3 pepper book is gonna be someone else's 5 pepper book. Like people have different scales for what's a lot of smut, and so it's gonna be subjective no matter who it is.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, Nancy. It's just like reading in general, it's definitely subjective, which kind of brings us to our next topic, open versus closed door um books. Like, do you have opinions generally on like open door versus closed door? Like, what are your feelings about it?
I really have like strong feelings about it. Like I read both.
Mhm,
Um I like knowing going into it, like if it's open or closed door.
mhm,
Um when it comes to like closed door books, I'm not a fan of when they're marketed as like clean romance or something along those lines, cuz that kind of falls under like smut shaming. When cuz clean romance it implies that there's also dirty romance. So
mhm.
I'm not a fan of that term, but I will read both, like closed and open door.
That's a really good point. I never thought about the marketing of clean romance. I always had an aversion to it but I literally never thought deeper. I was just like, "Ew," and then I would just scroll away, but I like how you put it because it is kind of kink sh or not kink shaming, you're right, like, smut shaming in a sense.
Yeah. And I don't think that everyone that uses that term is intending it to be like have that meaning behind it.
Mhm.
Like I think it's just a widespread term and a lot of people don't think about it. I've seen quite a few posts on Bookstagram talking about it, and that's the only reason that I even think about that. Like, oh yeah, that is kind of what that implies.
I see.
Um, but like, I don't think most people realize that, you know, it's just a term that we use.
Yeah. No, yeah, that makes sense. I feel like with like, I'm just like you, like, I'll read both open and closed door books. I prefer to know ahead of time just so I don't get my expectations up, but I'm trying to think about when I first read Long Live, because Long Live is technically closed door,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if I knew that going in, and it didn't leave me feeling like I wanted more. Like, the tension was built really well, and, like, I made a joke about Throne of Glass, so Lorcan did. Like, it wasn't that. It wasn't just, like, slamming the door in our faces. Like, I really dislike when books do that. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, depending on how it's done. But
I feel like Long Live and Forever Rain, like specifically, were just like they, like you said, they didn't slam the door in your face. They just like politely asked you to leave.
oh, that's a good way to put it, yeah. That's a really good way to put it. I'm dead.
Bessie's gonna love that.
Politely asked you to leave. And then when I said slam the door in your face, okay, so obviously I thought of Throne of Glass, but then I also thought of the Storm King.
Feels aggressive page break.
If you know, you know. The threesome we could have had. But also with okay, with books like The Storm King, Sheila's talked about this, I think, when she was on our podcast too, but it was like that had no purpose being in the book. Like that sex scene would have had no purpose except to make us as readers happy for a little smutty sex scene, but it served no purpose for the plot. And so for things like that, like I totally understand and it doesn't make me like mad necessarily in any way. Um
Like say with the throne scene in Threaded.
It wouldn't have served like any purpose. I think that about to go back for just 1 second to the scene in the Storm King. I also think that there was something to be said about not putting it in when you have, and this is very, very light spoilers for the Storm King, but when you have a lesbian couple and you have someone else who has to come into the bedroom for like reproduction
like for an
dynasty reasons.
obligation.
Yeah. Portraying that on page when neither members of the lesbian couple are POV characters, so it would just be like
That's true.
yeah, I think that's also something that like Sheila's very, very careful in her consideration of consent and obligation in regards to sex in her book, so I think that was probably also something that she considered.
That's true. That makes a lot of sense. I'm trying to think of other books I really hate having the door slammed in my face, but genuinely, it is just Throne of Glass.
I am
So
really
Larkin
sad we
did.
didn't get the I'm really sad we didn't get the throne scene in Threaded though. I wish we
Me
would
too.
have. Look, I understand. But I didn't like it.
I think we were all kind of mad about it.
Maybe she'll put it in, like, a special edition.
Ooh, well, maybe.
Maybe. Sorry, I was
Poetic
gonna say, on
edition.
the other hand, there are some books too where it's like, "Okay, like, we get it, they're having sex again." Like, "Okay, we get it. Can we, like we have a battle to fight. Can we just get to that?" Like, sometimes I do genuinely feel that way.
There was 2 different books by 2 different authors that were the last book in a trilogy where it was like smut just for like smut's sake, and like, yeah, the scenes were hot, but like there was still so much of the story that we needed to like finish up on. Like maybe you could have, I think it would have made more sense to spend like a little more time on like the plot and less time on the dick. Like there was a book that I read that I was really, really excited, and it's the last book in a trilogy. It's one of the ones I was just talking about. And the whole entire plot line for one of the couples who like was not the plot line in their previous book was just like, how much weird kinky sex can they have? Like literally the epilogue, their epilogue chapter was just like pegging and nothing else. And I'm like, that's a choice.
But yeah, no, I do agree with you. It's like, especially I don't mind books that are smutty books, like where that is the premise. But it's like you can't do that at the end of a series, or like you can't just like throw that in there out of nowhere when it's like, wait, you've done all this world building and all this character development, and then all of a sudden, like, where'd the plot go? Like what happened? Where did hello? Knock knock, hello? Where is the plot there?
Is the plot in the room with us?
I think that does happen sometimes. And I almost wonder if it's like authors feeling pressure from fans. And I don't know if this is a term that's used in the book world, but it's like a term that's used in anime, um, like fan service, where it's literally just like hot guys or hot girls on screen on the anime for the fans. I feel like sometimes that happens with authors where it's like they're like, I know my fans will love these smutty scenes, and they kind of lose where they were going because they're trying to please their fans with the smutty scenes, kind of thing.
I think that's certainly possible. I always like wonder, but you can't like politely ask an author that. You can't be like, did you write this scene as fan service? Like that's
Yeah.
fucking rude to just like ask someone.
No, totally, totally.
I guess I better become an author so I can be an author group so I can find out.
You can be an author that asks those questions.
Perfect.
Oh my god, that's so funny. I don't mind a couple fan service sex scenes, but not the whole book.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'm like good with like just like one or two, or like what some of our author friends have done where we're like, man, I really wanted to like see this scene, and they'll be like, okay, it's a bonus scene, here you go. Like I know
Yeah.
Nicole on her Patreon, there's been a couple of like Patreon bonus chapters that she's written specifically because we asked for them. And she's like, oh, I wouldn't have put this in the book because it doesn't, so you don't need to see it on page for it to serve the purpose that it serves in the book, but like so many people, this is by popular request, it can go out on my Patreon as a bonus chapter.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. I feel like we answered Libby's question though. Do we prefer smut for smut's sake or when it pushes the plot along?
And I feel like we also kind of went over on how smut scenes can actually add to the plot, unless you wanted to go more in depth on that.
No, I think we covered that.
Cool. Then we get to move on to my most favorite topic, YA and smut scenes.
Tell us, Harley. How do you really feel?
Smut, which I earlier said was sex scenes that are designed specifically for like the titillation of the readers, do not belong in books that have underage protagonists in them. Period. You can have a sex scene that like we've said, like pushes the plot along or like is really important to the characters in a YA book, but it is not like a doors open 5 chili pepper scene when you are talking about children, and anyone who's underage is by definition a child.
Mhm.
So but you can, and in my opinion should, have sex scenes that add to the plot. A good example that I go back to all the time is Breaking Dawn. We don't get we are in the sex scene in Breaking Dawn. Spoilers if you haven't fucking read the book. It's been like 15 years. We are in the sex scene, but it is so focused on Bella, who's our POV character in that scene, it is so focused on what's going on like in her head and not like the physical sensation. Like you can read that and it's not like meant to be titillating for you as a reader. It's meant to push the plot forward. And we get the plot pushed forward because guess what? She ends up fucking pregnant. Like, and we do get a number of like door slammed in your face sex scenes in those books as well. Or in Breaking Dawn, not before that. But so you can have sex scenes on page if they're emotionally driving the plot and if they're written as like sex scenes not meant to be titillating for the reader. In my opinion.
I think it also depends on the target audience, because I feel like YA should be split up into like I've seen some authors like describe their books as upper YA compared to like younger YA. Like a 12-year-old isn't reading the same things a 16-year-old is reading. And what you were just describing, Harley, like, you know, a YA book that's targeted towards like the upper end of the YA market, I'd say that fits in those books, but something that's for like, you know, a 12-year-old, I would say it does, even that doesn't belong in those books.
I agree with you in that it depends on like you said who the target audience is and
Yeah.
the age of the protagonist. Like I don't want to read like a new adult fantasy about a 15-year-old having lots of sex. Okay, I don't. Even if it's an adult book. However, I also think that, and this might be a very controversial opinion to have, there should be safe avenues for even younger teenagers to explore those thoughts and those feelings without it being presented as smut. So like at 13, 14, 15, I was having those feelings. I was having sex when I was 14 years old. So like it's not unheard of for children that age to be experiencing those things and having those urges. And I think it's important for there to be space in fiction for teenagers to safely explore those thoughts and feelings. But I, as a 30-year-old woman, that's not like my space, I guess, to read them. So maybe that's where the delineation is. I'm like, this is clearly written for like someone who's 13, 14, 15 to be exploring that, not for like 30-year-old, 10-year into a relationship, has had lots of sex in her life, adult me to be reading.
I agree. I think it's also I think good to have those safe sex scenes in YA books, because I mean, we all know the public education system is not the best place to learn about safe sex necessarily. So if kids are learning about it from the books they read, like, good on them, as long as it's age appropriate, as long as it's like you said, it's a sex scene, it's not smut, it's not, like, over-sexualizing these kids, it's more, like, showing what safe sex and being safe with a partner for the first time in your life could look like. And I know I read a lot of, like, kinda romancy books, like romancy YA books when I was that age, and that is where I learned about, you know, how should a partner be treating you and whatnot. And then I also read some really fucked up books like Crank and
Bro,
like
Crank?
Identical.
Which one is the one where the girl gets like raped by her boyfriend? I think it's
Oh,
Identical, but I'm not sure.
no, Identical's the one where she's molested by her dad every night.
Oh, it's not
Fucked
that
me up.
one. So
And
it really, okay,
that's
so
YA. That's technically a YA book.
yeah, so I think very specifically, I think that author actually does a really good job of exploring those themes. The Crank series, Crank is a trilogy, and then she's wrote a whole bunch of other ones. It's Perfect is the one I'm thinking of, by the way. I have all of them. I own them all. that author is from Reno, where I went to college. So they all take place like in Reno or in Sacramento, like where I
didn't know
grew up.
that.
Yeah.
No, you're right. She does a good job of showing like the nitty-gritty fucked up things that do actually happen in this world to people, to young people that age. And yeah, maybe it's topics that are like difficult to encounter, but it's something where it's like I read that as a teen and yeah, it fucked me up, but it was like, holy shit, like people go through this. This wasn't my life. This was somebody's life though. Like somebody had an experience similar to these experiences
Especially
in these books.
Especially 'cause she talks about, like, at the end of at least the Crank book, she talks about how the experiences in Crank were directly related to what happened with her daughter. Her daughter, the protagonist, or not the protagonist, the main character in that book, the female, is based on her daughter.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. That's right, I got to the end of that, I was like, "What?" And I was, like, crying. I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
So it can be beneficial, it can be something where it's, like, people in that age group are learning safe sex, they're learning information that will help them out in the long run, but I agree with you where it's, like, it shouldn't be smutty, it shouldn't be like the
Mhm.
books that we're reading, like NA adult level books. Like, that doesn't need to happen in YA.
Yeah.
Final thoughts, Harley? I know this was your special topic.
I will rant about this every single day if I given the opportunity. I will talk about it. I was like, since we're talking about smut, let's talk about why. And there's like people who believe that, like, oh no, the A stands for adults, and I'm like, yeah, but you know it's for like 15 to 19-year-olds, like that's the age group for YA is like 15 to like 20.
Yeah.
Teenagers, yeah.
Yeah, and like teen fiction is like 11 to 15.
I didn't
Like,
know there was a distinction.
there is outside of like the fantasy world that we all kind of live in.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. But like there's like teen romance is a genre, and it's like closed door sex scenes. There are sex scenes in them, it's just all closed door.
Yeah, or it's, like, very almost, like, very, like, biological in a sense.
I wish I could
'Cause
remember. There's this like super Christian book that I read when I was a
Oh
teenager, and
god.
it was like when I got my Nook, like one of the first years the Nook came out, it was free. Because I used to like take advantage of those free deals, right? Because I was broke all the time. And it was like super Christian, and it was about this like couple who met when they were like 15 years old, and she was like saving herself for marriage, and I don't remember if he was, but I think he was too. They met at like Christian summer camp, and they like were together we're together for a fucking summer, you guys. And then they go back, so it must have been 16, that must have been 15, like 2016 or something like that. So they go back, and like her parents were like, blah blah blah, when you're an adult you can do whatever you want, but while you live under my house you will not be having sex, you will not be having a boyfriend, blah 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 blah, whatever, right? So this boy, because he's fucking 15 years old or 16 years old, talks to her dad and is like, well, what if you let us get married when she turns 17? And he's like, what the fuck? No. And they make the point like, oh, well, once we're 18, we'll just do whatever we want anyway. So why don't you let it be like, give your consent so we can get married when we're 17? And that's how the fucking book ended, was their wedding on her
What?
17th birthday.
What?
And then the epilogue was the sex scene.
I was
But
gonna
it was
say,
very,
they just
but it was
they just
very
got married to
Breaking
have sex,
Dawn.
didn't they?
Yeah, and the epilogue was like very like Breaking Dawn. Like it was like you were present, but you weren't feeling the sensations. You were just kind of standing across the room listening or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Or like it's a glass slider door, like it's not a solid door, but you can see in, right?
Okay, okay. That's really
Um,
funny.
but yeah, that was like the epilogue. That was the whole fucking point of the book. But I remember reading that, and it was like very Christian. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That tracks. I wish I could find it.
I'm
I'm
actually
just
dead, that's so
concerned.
funny. You should be concerned. There's some kids reading that. Some kid read that.
Exactly. I'm like, I hope no kid read that and got ideas from it.
I'm gonna see if I can find it.
I definitely got ideas from the teen romance books I was reading. I'm trying to think. Oh my god, no.
Oh.
I literally when I like, my high school boyfriend, I straight up would say shit to him that, like, I saw in the books, and it worked, obviously.
Shut the fuck up. That's amazing.
Teenage boys are stupid, though, so of course
They
it
are
works.
stupid.
Okay, on to the next. Cringy euphemisms. This is fun. Um, should we just spitball all of our favorite cringy euphemisms?
Get the fuck moist folds out of here.
I don't like okay, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Slit.
No. Look, if it's used like once, okay, whatever.
Yeah. That's why I don't hate it. That's why I don't hate it.
Yeah, if it's just like once, then it's fine. But no, otherwise, absolutely not.
Nub, hate.
Hate.
Yeah, no.
Actually, nub is okay if you're specifically talking about a nipple.
Oh, okay. Okay. I don't think I've ever read it in that context.
I don't think I have either.
I have. Yeah, it's okay if you're talking about a nipple.
Oh my god, there's this one term an author used for like butthole, and the way she described it was so freaking vague. I had to read it 3 or 4 times. I was like, "Are they doing anal right now?" I was like, "I can't tell."
Hey, I need to pause really quick. So I'm looking for this stupid fucking book. Like I've Googled it, right? And the first book that pops up is A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer L. Armentrout. That is not
It's not a
a
Christian
Christian.
book.
It's not a Christian fiction book for a young adult.
I just saw fiction and adult.
I guess. Damn.
That's really funny.
There's actually been a number of books where I've been like reading them and I'm like, are you doing anal or not?
A lot of authors make it real vague.
Yeah. Could you just be a little more specific?
Oh, okay, I remember the term. It was puckered hole.
That's a butthole.
But I could like in the context of like what was happening and like where the bodies were placed, I was like, it is it?
Okay, tell me more about where the bodies are placed because I bet I can convince you that it was anal.
Well, no, it was anal. I think it was anal, but it took me a minute to determine that. I believe they were like face to face, which is why I was like, are they doing anal right now? Which I know you can, obviously, but
Obviously.
the puckered hole made me. I was like,
You
because
know
I think
what?
she used a similar term to talk about her vag too. So I was like,
Oh.
huh,
You know what we were robbed of, speaking of anal?
tell us.
We were robbed of Nesta getting fucked in her butthole.
You're right. You're right.
We were robbed.
After reading a lot of kinkier books, I realized I was like, oh, they weren't as kinky as they should have been.
Here's the thing. I think SJM knows they should have been, but she's like, I don't write kinky stuff. I write
Yeah.
pretty straight laced, like, yeah. Not like that sounds like a complaint. There's nothing wrong with doing that. That's like this
not her
she's choosing to
style.
write. However, there is no fucking way Cassian is not into anal. Actually, you know
we
what?
were
For
also
that
robbed.
matter,
What?
go ahead.
What were
I
you
was
gonna
gonna
say?
for
Are we
that
gonna say the
matter,
same thing?
perhaps there's no fucking way that, first of all, none of the other guys have ever done anal. And second of all, there's no fucking way they're all monogamous.
Okay, thank you. Yes, because I think she was giving him a BJ in the dining room. Asriel was there. I think what should have happened was he should have stepped in. I think that was the perfect moment for a nice little threesome right there.
I still think we were robbed of Nessa's daydream of the threesome, and like, I know that was pulled. SJ Maas said that was pulled by her editor. I was
Ugh,
like, even
you-
if it was
I'm
a
not gonna.
daydream?
Yeah, right. And yet her editor didn't pull a lot of things in Crescent City 3. I said what I said.
Speaking of which, you're telling me Hunt Athalar
Doesn't do
talking
anal.
about Bryce's ass all the time? Isn't even putting
Sucking on her toes.
isn't even putting his tongue up there? For real? That's what really happened when they were in the gym.
Spoiler, Nancy. Spoiler, Nancy. There's no anal. in
Sorry, yeah,
Crescent
there's no
City.
anal in Crescent City. You're telling me Hunt Athalar, dick too big to fit into underwear, doesn't do anal?
Oh, fucking dead. I hate that.
I hate that
No,
detail. I actually hate that detail.
no,
There's not a lot of things that I hated about Crescent City 3, but I hated that detail. I'm
I
so
don't
sorry,
think
Nancy. That's a spoiler.
his dick's too big to fit in underwear. That's canon. He says that.
Oh my god.
It's not okay. I read that. I had to read that a few times. I was like,
So did I. So did
excuse
I.
me? Wait, excuse me? What did you just say?
Also, we were denied, and I get it, because Throne of Glass started as a YA series. It sounds an awful lot like Rowan and Lorcan were in a relationship. Sounds like they were
What?
in like a... Okay, you have to look into the lore on this, because there's
Yeah,
like...
I do.
There is a scene where Rowan makes a comment about how Lorcan is upset that he left Lorcan for Aelin. And I'm like... And then there's another comment where he talks about how, like, they used to bed women together.
Oh, okay. Okay, she does. She loves to like throw that little tidbit in there. She did that in Throne of Glass. She did that in ACOTAR. Like saying like, "Oh yeah, the three of us used to like bang in the same room," and it's like, well, show us.
Okay,
Prove
listen,
it.
I actually do have to say, though, that's a very, like, teenage young adult boy in a not serious relationship thing to do, because I will say, like, when I was in my well, not early 20s, because just then I got to number 21, but it was when I was like a teenager, there was more than once where I was like having sex with my then boyfriend in a room, and I had another friend in the same room who may or may who I don't know what they were doing, because I wasn't thinking about that, but there was other people in the room. But I do feel like that's just like a very immature, like, young man thing to do.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Especially if you're drunk and don't give a fuck.
And like, what's his name? Because I don't say his name right. Reese.
Oh, Reese, yeah.
I say Rice.
You're wrong.
Reese. I know. So Reese is like so protective of Farah too, where there's no fucking way he'd just let everyone see what she's got going on.
Here's the deal. I think that if she was into that, I think he would. Because
Okay, that's true. That's true.
he says more than once, like, oh, if you want to invite a third in, that's fine. And then before Feyre knew, this is spoilers for ACOTAR, before Feyre knew that they were mates, he even says, like, oh yeah, I'll send Cassian your way.
Oh, that's true.
And I think that if she'd really meant it, I think he would have.
Well, and
I
they
don't know,
did like talk in the middle of the sky, so I don't think exhibitionism is like completely out of the
we
equation.
just like block that out, honestly.
Oh.
This whole entire episode is gonna just have to have like a big old spoiler warning for the SJM universe, because that's all we've been doing is talking about Sarah J Maas books.
She's an easy one to point out because it's like most people have read her, so it's like they know what we're gonna be talking about.
One of our friends posted a reel about the slow burn in Penn's books, and then it's like you get to this specific chapter, and that's like when the slow burn ends or whatever, and it's just like a really funny reel. And I can't remember, Nancy, you haven't read Penn's books, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, then I don't want to say what it is because it's really, really funny. But it's a big spoiler. So.
I think I probably had that reel pop up on my page though. I don't remember
Is
who
it
it
the
was
Katy?
that posted it.
I was like, is it the Katy Perry song one?
remember
Katy
what the
Perry
song
song.
was. I think I
I
had
haven't
my
even seen that.
had my phone on mute when
Oh,
it popped up.
It was Teenage Dream. I love that song. Okay. I'm gonna push us back towards cringe euphemisms. We stopped with puckered hole. What else do we have?
Oh yeah. Oh.
I was just reminded of, it was like a while ago in Tay's server, Holly was reading, I think it was an arc. I don't remember what book it was. I don't think she said. But the female main character kept referring to the guy's dick as goddamn the entire book.
Stop.
I missed that. Goodbye.
I-
No, absolutely not.
I
was
saw
like
his
trying-
goddamn.
I was trying to remember what the word was. Like, I knew it was Holly talking about it, but I couldn't remember what the word was. I just remembered it was absolutely insane.
What the fuck?
And I was just scrolling through it was in the Unhinged Shit channel, and I found it. I was like, oh, that was it.
I've heard I don't love when girls refer to their own bits as like the pearl, the clam, the something like that. I do not like it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
weird.
don't like
I don't think I've read those before, but no.
Listen, it
flower.
is no. The only but actually, you know what? Of all of the things, I guess flower is not that bad.
Yeah, I was gonna
But
say out of
it's
the
so
things that was
Christian
just
sounding.
I was like, listen, the clam situation is acceptable in like one situation and one situation only. If you're a fucking mermaid, then you can call it your clam. Then it's okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. My favorite is from this hockey wide shoes that I read, and it's Little Diamond of Pleasure. Talking
Oh
about her
yeah.
clit.
I remember you said that's in somewhere and I saw it.
I've said it quite clearly everywhere. I've said
Didn't
it.
you change your name on one of the servers to Little Diamond of Pleasure?
I think I did for a little bit, and then something happened, and it wasn't that anymore. I was actually probably Kara's server, and then I became Kara's PA mommy.
Oh yeah, you're probably right.
I'm sure I can think of more. I know Takia always she made a post once that had so many cringy, hilarious ones.
Do you know if that was
so many
recent?
posts like that.
He does make posts. I don't know how recent it was.
I'm gonna see if I can find it.
Bean, I don't know.
No. Goodbye. That makes me think if he's just not that into you, actually.
Really?
Because he buys her the underwear for flicking her bean.
Oh, that's right.
That was the first time I ever heard that was watching that movie.
Actually, probably me too, because I think I was only like 12 or something when that movie came out.
When did that movie come out?
That could be a lie.
2009.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I was about like 12.
Yeah, because I guess I was like 15 or 16 when it came. I was turned 16 that year.
Yeah, I don't think my mom wanted me to watch that movie, but I wanted to watch that movie.
I definitely went and saw it in theaters. I'm trying to remember who would have taken me to see it because I was still too young to go.
Wait, was it a rated R movie?
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Who the fuck took me to see it? Oh my god, no, this was in my pirating movies online era.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's PG-13.
Oh,
How the
okay, okay.
How the fuck is that? That's not the movie I'm thinking of. Though. It's hang on. It's with Gerard Butler and Katherine
Oh, I know
Heigl.
what movie you're thinking about, and I don't know the name of it.
I thought it was
That
He's Just
movie
Not
is
That
rated
Into
R.
You, but it's okay.
It's like she doesn't she they go on a date and they don't really like each other, but then, like, they end up or does she pay him to go on a date with her?
It's
Or,
The Ugly
like
Truth. That's what I was thinking of. It also came out in 2009 though.
okay.
Okay, well, IMDb has a really bad summary of it because it literally just says an uptight television producer takes control of a morning show segment on modern relationships hosted by a misogynistic man. But it's
Oh, that's
got
right! It's, like, forced proximity, like, they're forced to be coworkers, and then they end up, like, going on, like, dates or something like that. I think it might be,
he
like,
ends
fake
up
dating.
they end up actually being friends, and she's dating somebody else. They end up being friends, and then turns out that he's actually into her.
Early 2000s rom-coms just hit different.
They do. Okay, I can't find this post on Takea's Instagram. Maybe she got rid of it. Sad.
It honestly could have been, like, Facebook or Threads too, for all I know.
Oh, I think it was on Threads because I think I remember that. I'm not gonna go look for it on Threads though because I have to actually log into Threads. I'm logged in
I
from my
can look.
Instagram. Okay.
I'm still trying to think
Um,
of, like, bad ones.
I did someone when I was looking for that word in Tay's server, someone else sent like a Reddit post with a bunch of really bad ones. Like it was just a screenshot.
Oh, I was gonna say, I really hate hole. Like, sometimes it
mhm.
just, like, it gives gaping hole.
Do you have a favorite word for it?
Like, pussy?
Oh my god, your voice is so cute when you say pussy. No, that is also my favorite word.
Oh my god, it's giving Miranda Cosgrove. What's your favorite swear word? Swear word? Probably pussy.
You kind of sound like her, actually.
Oh my god. I've been told that before.
You have?
Yes. My friend made my, contact picture on her phone for me, Miranda Cosgrove.
Your contact picture on my phone is a picture of you crying. So,
Well, that tracks too.
yeah. I think it was you crying when you were reading The Godless Kingdom.
Oh, for sure. 100%, that's what it was. Okay, I've just realized we didn't think of many words for, like, dick.
That's because they just say dick. Like
They do
they don't say anything
Oh,
else.
length. They say, like, his hard length,
Sheath to
which
the
is not
hilt.
bad.
I don't like that phrasing. I
Sheath to the
understand,
hilt.
yeah. I understand what they're conveying, but like and you can't really say like it's all the way in. Like you can't just like say that. But I hate the way that sheath to the hilt like just is.
Wait, I'm dying. It's all the way in. The way your voice got deeper.
That's my man voice.
I'm just imagining, like, IRL, you're having sex. It's all the way in.
Have you guys seen Superbad?
No.
Yes.
Okay, first of all, Nancy, you need to watch it because it's honestly one of the most disgusting films of the mid 2000s, but it is so fucking funny.
It's so fun.
It is so accurate to what it was like to be a teenager at that time. Because I was a freshman in high school when that movie came out, and that was so accurate to like what it was like trying to go to like the humor, at least, not the entire overarching plot because some weird shit happens, but like the sense of humor, the way you treated your friends, and all of that stuff was like very on brand. Um, but there's a scene where one of the characters is losing his virginity, and the girl is drunk. He's drunk too, and the girl's also drunk, and she's like, "Is it in?" He goes, "Yeah, it's all the way in."
I remember that scene. Oh my god, that's so funny. The way we've referenced, like, 3 different early 2000s movies on this episode.
That's good. This is
Educational podcast?
an episode for the millennials.
Oh, okay, yeah, true, true. I feel like that's all my work rotted brain can think of right now. I guarantee you by the time we end this podcast, I'm gonna be like, oh, that's another one.
Me too,
And just
honestly.
add the extra ones that we think of in the Discord or something when the episode comes out.
That's true. We can do that. So, and let's transition, Drew, into dark romance. So, take it away. Start yapping.
Okay, I like how like I've become the resident dark romance person, and I don't even read like that much dark romance, but I've read enough. Um, I guess just to talk about some tropes within dark romance that should be honorably mentioned. I know you like this one, Harley, like consensual non-consent.
Okay,
So,
I don't.
oh no, were you
Okay,
confusing this with something else?
no. I don't mind it. I don't like it, but like if it happens in a book, like that's totally fine. But I don't like seek it
Okay.
out.
Oh, okay. I thought that was like one of like the tropes you liked, but good to
No,
know.
I just like look, I don't have and I'm like very chill, but I don't really have any triggers or anything. As long as the characters are like consenting to whatever's going on in the book, like I'm chill with pretty much whatever. But I don't actively seek out a lot of like dark romance and like dark romantic fantasy where like the smut is the dark part and the fantasy is the not dark part.
I see. That's fair. I think that's definitely a good distinction because there are dark romances where the plot is dark, like the overarching themes are dark, but the romance itself isn't necessarily dark. Like maybe just because of the circumstances, yeah, it is, but like the actual smutty scenes aren't like super kinky. Maybe there's not even anything that would be triggering within the sex scenes themselves, but because of the plot, like there are certain trigger warnings. I'm thinking of The Sick Boys, the first book in the Sick Boys series, because it's like that whole series is really dark. It's really fucked up. Like some super fucked up stuff happens, but the relationship between the first couple that we meet, it's kind of like enemies to lovers, so we have that aspect. Um it's kind of a little bit of a touch of like bully romance, so we do have that aspect as well, but then once they become an established couple, it's not super dark. But then later on in this series, we get to a couple where the maybe like light trigger warnings for abuse and the R word. Um so by the end of the series, the one of the main couples, like the main female character, she was trafficked for the majority of her life. And the main male character is a little fucked up in the head. He rescues her and he like kills everyone that, harmed her. But they have some really dark scenes. It's a lot of consensual non-consent where it's like she's trusting him to do things to her that were done to her in the past, but like under a different light. And it's like a healing thing for her. And that's something where it's like, it can get, it's like, read the fucking trigger warnings. Like, it could be, as someone that doesn't have any triggers, I was even like, oh God, I have to like mentally be in a good place for this. And that brings me to a subtopic I wanted to talk about with dark romance, where it's like, when does it go too far? Because I've been seeing a lot of talk on social media of people basically, um, ah, I wish I had a more eloquent way of putting it, but basically just like hating on books like the series I mentioned, where there are elements that are very dark, where there's consensual non-consent, where like like I said, trigger warning, where like rape happens and it's not between the main characters. It's like it's something that's a part of like the plot line, and there are people that say that's going too far, that like a romance shouldn't go that far. And so I kind of wanted to just like ask you guys, like, what do you think? I know for me, if you're reading a dark romance, you should expect certain themes to be touched upon, and you should read the trigger warnings. And then if it's something that you don't think you can handle, just don't read it. And I think there's definitely a difference between putting rape into a book and it being like just detrimental in the sense of like it didn't need to be there. Why is this happening to this character? Like it's almost like I don't know, I don't want to say glorifying it, but like that could happen versus putting it into a book where it's like this character went through this horrible thing and they are going through steps to like get through that trauma. And I don't think that just because a book has certain triggering aspects in it, it's like a bad book, which is what I've been seeing online.
I think that there's a whole lot of people who, if they think those books by their nature are bad, need to like go outside and touch grass. They need like a reality check, because there's a lot of those things that are and do happen in real life, and I'm not saying that they don't, but this is fiction. It is not real, and if it is triggering for you, you do not read it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, period. End of story. Like if it's not for you, just like don't engage with it. There's plenty of other media for you to engage with, and let the people who are indulging in this as a fantasy do that safely. Like, Drew, you're not reading dark romance and then being like, yeah, I want to be a rape victim.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
Exactly.
reading it and enjoying there's dark stuff that happens, but everybody has tough shit happen to them in their lives, and reading those can be a way to also like explore that trauma safely. Or if you've never had those experiences, you can still read about them safely. You don't have to be traumatized to understand the value in those stories being told.
Exactly. And then even like in a lighter sense, I've seen people saying like dark romance, like in my version, lighter dark romance where it's just like he like chokes her and like maybe slaps her around a little bit because she likes that. They're saying like this is glorifying domestic abuse when it's like, okay, no, it's not what's happening because these people are both consenting to this and it's explicitly stated that they're both consenting to this. And it feels like there's definitely a hint of kink shaming going on with certain people in the book community when they stumble across dark romance and like they just don't understand what's happening.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So yeah, that's my little dark romance rant.
Perfect. Love. 10 out of 10.
What's next? What's next?
That was
Okay,
like
on
the
a
last.
lighter note. Oh yeah, that was like our last one. Wait, no, but oh, this was
We
a
do
Jamie
have.
question, right?
Oh, okay. Actually, we do have a lighter note because we got asked what our favorite smutty scenes / books are and our least favorite. That's lighter. We can talk about that.
Who's ready? Who has these answers on deck? That's the real
I
question here.
forgot to think about it.
Nancy.
I know.
I don't read a lot of books. Actually, I don't think I've ever read a book that is smut only, no plot. So like all of my faves have plot in them.
Yes, same.
Yeah. So I would say, I don't know if this is like a smutty book. It's got a lot of smutty scenes, but it comes out tomorrow. I loved The Breaker of Stars by Nicole. Flatania, who we just had on, that was like, it's 200 pages and I loved it.
That one was really good. The tension was tensioning.
Yeah.
The scenes
But
we got were amazing.
Yeah, so I would say the scenes from that were really good. The specifically the library scene from both the library scene actually from Threaded and from the Storm King rank among my favorites. There's a library scene in the Shards of Ophelia that also ranks among my favorites. And there is weird, it's also a library scene in Heat. The Heat of the Everflame that ranks among my favorites.
All of the Coven library scenes.
Yeah, all of the Coven library scenes, and then there is there's a scene in The Crown of Wyvern's Flame, which is by our friend M, and it is a post reunion excited to be back together sex scene that I love it. It's one of my faves. Very hot.
What's your least favorite? Are we gonna not say least favorite?
Least
We shouldn't say
favorite.
least favorite. I don't know if we should say least favorite.
You know what? I'm gonna say it. It is the door being slammed in my fucking face in Kingdom of Ash.
Oh, you know what? You're right. You know what? I was like, I don't want to be a hater, but I will be a hater every day of my fucking life for that. So yeah, you're right. You're right.
As far as like actual sex scenes, I do have least favorites, but we're not here to bash authors besides literally Sarah J Maas. So, and
Well, and Rebecca
we
Yarros,
listen.
sorry.
She writes really good smut scenes, though.
She does, yeah. It's too bad about her plot, though. So I'm sorry.
I cannot wait to tell you about Onyx Storm. It's going to be so fun.
It's gonna be so funny. I want to know what she's gonna do. I'm definitely a hater, but like, good for her. Good on her. Get that bag, girl. I won't be helping you get that bag, but you get that bag.
I will be helping you get that bag, and I would love to meet you. since you listen and everything.
She definitely listens to our podcast.
She definitely does.
100.
Oh, you guys. I don't
actually,
know. I read so much smut.
Wait, can I name one more person who I think writes really good sex scenes that aren't smutty, and it is in adult fantasy, like doors open but they're not super smutty, is her name is A.G. Bauman, and she has 4 of her 5 book series out right now. The first is Under Darkened Skies, and we do get on-page sex scenes, and they advance the plot forward, but they're not like super, super explicit. So if that's your thing, go check out her books. They're really fun. They're a good time. They're a blast. And they're new adult. I just wanted to mention that. Okay, please go on, Drew.
Okay, if we're talking like smut alone, this book also has the plot is like it's like a romance, like it's like I guess it's a dark romance. There is definitely plot, but it's dark romance, so that's all I need to say. Death's Obsession by Avina St. Graves. Love. It's like the Grim Reaper and his obsession, and there's a scene where with her and the Grim Reaper and his shadow. It's so fucking hot.
Oh my god, I forgot a scene. You just
what'd you
reminded
forget?
me.
You're welcome.
The scene from The Wolf and the Witch by
Oh, I need to
Teresa
read
Lee.
that series.
There is a scene, plug your earballs if you don't want to hear about it. There's a scene where somebody can split their body into 3. So it's like you're having an orgy, but it's just 2 people. It's so hot.
Okay,
I can't
I'm
believe I forgot about that.
moving it up on the TBR. I've been wanting to read that series for a really long time now.
And there's like a Daddy Phantom Pants moment in the Savage Lands. I think it's in the last one. Bump that up on the TBR.
I gotta also shout out a hockey romance I really enjoy. It's like a darker hockey romance called Stand and Defend by Sloane St. James. The main male character is a Jacob's Ladder. Need I say more?
I do love a Jacob's Ladder.
I love it. I love it in a book too. There's a cute moment where like this is actually why I started reading this book because someone posted this scene on Instagram, but there's a moment where like she has her period and she's like, I don't think I can do it with like the metal's just too much and he like takes it out and like cleans himself up for her and then it's just like I don't know, I just thought that was like really cute. Like they have like a sweet little intimate moment.
That is cute. That is really cute. Love that.
And then okay, my last one I will say um one of my favorite fantasy series that has amazing smut and amazing plot will always be The Foolish Kingdoms by Natalia Jaster. So that's the one that you're reading right now, Harley.
Yes.
I think for me, I'm just gonna shout out The Coven again. Specifically Threaded and what I've read so far of the Legends of Thesmar. Like those scenes are really really well written. I enjoyed those a lot. Especially I knew that from what I'd been told, I knew the Legends of Thesmar series gets like the spice really picks up once you get past the slow burn. But Vows and Ruins was fun in that aspect. So I'm excited to continue that series. But
You're so right. I can't believe I forgot about that series. That series has some really, really good smut.
yeah,
And like entwined with the plot too. Like it all works well together.
yeah, it does.
Somehow all of our friends just write really good smut.
Facts. Facts. Yeah, there's one series I want to mention, but I don't want to spoil anything. So all the Coven girlies have some really hot scenes.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
agree.
Is that it? Do we have more questions?
Yeah, what's the criteria for good smut? Libby wants to know.
So hard. That's what she said.
I think for me, it's just like based off of like just vibes, basically. Like if it takes me out of the moment, then it's like okay, that's not good smut. But if it, I don't know, like how I would, what criteria I would give it.
You're right though.
Yeah, my criteria is like, okay, if it makes me like a little horny, then it's good smut. Like that's the base minimum.
True. True. I'm trying to yeah, like literally that really is the criteria.
Doesn't make me want to put the book down and figure out where Josiah went. Then it's good smut.
I agree with Nancy too. It's like as long as it doesn't take you out of the moment. Like if we like some of those words that we mentioned, some of those, depending on how they're used and whatnot, it can take you out and it's like, oh, this could have been a good moment, and then you just ruined it. But other times it's like we can gloss over certain words and it's fine.
So the very last question that we have comes from our sweet angel, Jamie James. She wants to know if we have a favorite type of smut, and she gave the example of like face writing scenes. I do not. I just like smut.
Yeah, I don't think I have a favorite.
Mm, yeah, I don't necessarily have a favorite. I like well, no, maybe that's not true. I love a good bathtub scene. And I think it's because of how unrealistic it is in real life. Like, I really have an aversion to bathtubs, and like, I'm just one of those weird people about bathtubs. So I think that's why I like to read about it so much. Because I'm like, oh, that sounds like so nice. Would I do that? No, I'd be really grossed out, but that sounds really nice.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I do love a bathtub scene, but I guess I don't have any like favorites, I guess. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, same. I think I like it all. The author we have in our author corner for this week is Emilia Jae, author of the Forbidden Heir Trilogy. The first book in the trilogy is The Dagger and the Forbidden Heir, and I'm just going to read a quick synopsis. So, a century ago, an exchange was proposed, a life saved for a war of revenge. For Captain Leah Solis of the Fae Army and the secret bastard daughter of the king, she's reminded of those consequences daily. Unable to claim her heritage or her throne, she's powerless to stop the innocent bloodshed that her birth ushered in. On the other side of the lines, Commander Jace Kadoria gladly fights the war of his ancestors to slaughter the Fae who have terrorized the humans of their realms for generations. And with a cunning plan to trap them, the end could finally be in sight. Except it quickly spirals out of control, leaving Leah and Jace enemies of opposite sides, stranded together in a dangerous terrain. Engaged in an intimate battle of their own, both warring to take control, they'll need their wits now more than ever to survive, because this fight could cost their lives and their hearts.
So, Drew and I have both read the first two books, The Dagger and the Forbidden Heir and The Crown of Wyvern's Flame, and we are both on M's street team. Nancy's going to read them. They're on her TBR. And the third book, the last book in the trilogy, comes out in September. It comes out next month. So we're freaking pumped. We're so excited.
I'm sad. It's going to be over.
Oh, yeah, listen, I'm also really sad, but I'm so excited for the last book.
I know. No, I'm really excited too. I think I'm going to do, well, hopefully, I'm going to do a reread before arcs go out.
Did you not do the read along?
No, I don't do well with read alongs, just in
Oh,
general.
interesting.
Yeah, I like, because I mean, you know how I read, like, I read a book really fast, or I'll, like, read it really slow and then, like, start other books and whatever, so I don't like to do read-alongs, it just puts pressure on me, so I'm like, "I'll do it when I do it." I know I'll get to it.
I did quietly participate in the read along. Like I reread the books in a weekend by myself.
Okay, see? Exactly. That's what I'm probably gonna end up doing.
But I am in there hanging out, so
I feel bad, I haven't been in anyone's Discord hanging out lately, and I keep missing things.
it's okay.
You have to keep me updated.
Okay, great, I will. Well, yeah, you texted me today. You're like, "Oh my gosh, did I miss something?" And I was like, "No."
No, exactly, 'cause I was like, "Hold on, I know I haven't been around, I need to find out."
It's okay. It
Yeah,
all worked out.
true. So yeah, read M series before third books comes out, and then buy all books too, because 'cause they're really pretty.
They
They're so beautiful.
they are really pretty.
We may or may not have seen some things that will be in the third book that are so pretty, like, you need them.
Yeah. Ugh, they're beautiful. I don't know what I'm most excited for. I don't know if I'm more excited for the story or the art.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
Thanks for talking smut with us.
Sorry this episode was a mess, guys.
I'm not sorry, it makes sense. It's the vibe,
It's
the
yeah.
vibe.
It does. I just feel like we're a little Drew and I are both exhausted. Nancy's probably also exhausted, but she's too nice to complain about it. Um, so we're just a little messy tonight.
That is, yeah, we're both kind of just like, okay, dragging our bodies through, like, hello, are we alive?
But this is actually a wonderful way to spend the evening.
Yeah, I'm glad we got to catch up, and we'll I guess we'll see you guys. Well, I'll see you guys
Like next week.
hopefully, yeah, next week.
Did we already sign off? Did we actually we said goodbye, right?
No, we didn't say goodbye.
Oh, we didn't? I
Motherfucker.
thought we did.
We didn't or well, we said, like, "Thanks for hanging out."
And then we just,
Yeah.
like, went off.
We just started talking about things. That's okay, I
anyways.
can cut this.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Good night!
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks for hanging out with us today, guys. Follow us on Instagram at Bound and Book Podcast. My personal Instagram is at UndercoverFaye.
You can find me over at HJK Reads. That's my initials. It's a fun time over there.
And you can find me at Nancy Reads and Writes on Instagram as well.
Thanks for reading with us, motherfuckers. Bye!
Bye!
I am